Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to episode 3 of Untangled. Welcome, everybody. Please let me know how my sound is, just to confirm that you guys can hear me, so we can get started. I feel really far away. Okay. Nice to be here with you guys. Okay, the sound is good. Yay. Hello, everyone. Another episode. So grateful to be here with you guys. How is everybody? How are you guys doing? Hello from Germany. I'd love to hear how you guys are doing right now. Happy. I'm doing okay. I'm doing great. Riding the waves. Blissful. Way to go, Angie. Time flew by today. Fuzzy head, triggered, up and down, facing demons, energetic, physical intensity, very peaceful, anxiety. Today's challenging, lots of ups and downs. This week, it's only Tuesday. Tensed up. Let's see. Feeling inspired. Sleepless nights. I'm crying right now. Welcome, Gigi. Cry away, my friend. Super intense, crazy body pains, challenging at work, cruising along and enjoying the sunshine. I love that. Challenged, embodying abundance. Yay, Wes. Way to go. I woke up with judgment. Welcome to my mornings. Sometimes I wake up with some judgments of myself when I first get up out of bed. I got sick. You just started my book, Philip. Oh, thank you. It's a good day in sunny Florida. This last week has been tough. Depression and sadness. Yeah, I've been feeling a lot of depression in the collective right now. A lot of depression. But it's so good to be here with you guys. I feel like I'm losing it. Is there something wrong with us? There's nothing wrong with us. I mean, one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this series is to really normalize the ups and downs, the in and outs, the am I crazy? Am I bipolar? What's wrong with me? The being able to juggle the blissful moments where everything just feels real good to the holy shit, hang on tight, what's going on right now, right? And everything and anything in between. I think for me, the more that we can normalize this and the more that we can see that there are people here that are going through it with us and that we're not, that there isn't anything wrong with this, right? That we really start to embrace and embody evolution, that we really start to embrace and embody and normalize the energetic evolutionary shifts in our consciousness. And we don't make it about going anywhere. Right? Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. There's a lot that is being triggered within our physical bodies. There's a lot that's being triggered in the external world right now, all for the sole purpose, whether we understand this or not, but all for the purpose of evolving out of lower states of consciousness. Here's what I want to share with you guys. So, I mean, there's so much I want to share with you in this hour, but one of the things, last Tuesday, I have no idea how I got through it on episode 2. I don't know if you guys have ever had these moments. I'm going to just say that you probably have, where you look back at what you did, like how you showed up or a conversation you had or a date that you went on or a dinner, whatever, and you were like, wait a second, did I actually do that? Like you can't really remember yourself even being there. I was so out of it last week. I was going through so much emotionally and energetically that I don't even remember showing up with you guys. Like, I don't even remember doing the book cover design. Um, I mean, I can look back and be like, yeah, I can, it's kind of fuzzy, but I was going through so much emotionally on an energetic level. I mean, emotion is energy, right? So I was going through so much in my body that simply showing up and speaking was a lot for me. Um, it was a lot because when our bodies are trying to process and move energies through it, right? Many times what we need, the Lorie Ladd human needs, is to do nothing, to not think, to not feel, to just be kind of like numbed out or zombified, right? Kind of put into this zombie state where you're walking around and you're present, but you're not really active. You're not engaging in the world. The reason that we move into those states of kind of being numb is not because you don't want to be a part of the world or you can't be a part of the world. It's that your body is doing so much energetic shifting, transformation, moving energies through that simply just showing up and walking through your life is enough. That's enough, right? So me showing up last week was and speaking and talking was like it was a lot. I I don't remember much of what I did. And the difference between last Tuesday and today I feel like I'm present. I feel like I am with you guys. I feel like I'm lighter, um, more engaging. Um, like things are okay. Things are pretty good. And I'm sharing this for a reason. The reason I'm sharing the difference between last Tuesday, where I literally don't even know how I spoke out loud, seriously, to today, where I feel alive and alert and like, let's go, let's talk, let's engage, right? Is because nothing is permanent and there is no such thing as being complete with anything. There's no such thing as being healed, in my opinion. There's no such thing as reaching a plateau or hitting some sort of crescendo. Wait, what's that word? Um, Hitting a crescendo. Wait, what's the word, you guys? Um, where you reach a point where you max out, right? Um, Crescendo. Thank you. We don't hit a crescendo, right? Which is a really weird word. What the heck does crescendo even mean? I think a lot of us, when you start to become aware, you start to observe, you start to recognize everything that you're experiencing, you feel like you're on some sort of like elevator ride and it's supposed to get better and better and better. Right? You're supposed to be evolving more and more into new and higher states of consciousness. You're supposed to be moving into new and higher frequencies. You're supposed to be finding bliss more and more, right? These programmed attached ways that we believe this is supposed to be and supposed to go. I don't know about you, but I know that that is not what I experience. Here's what I experience, and this really hit me this morning. What I experience is the ups and the downs, the ups and the downs. I plateau for a little bit where things feel just kind of like good. Now, if you're truly, truly in your body and truly, authentically being honest, raw, and vulnerable, it is almost impossible, in my opinion, to stay in a flat line or a plateau. Because this whole process that you and I are going through is an energetic process. And if you know that energy doesn't stop, it's always moving. And if you know that you are always moving out of older or lower states into higher states, and you know that the only way to do this, get this, this is important. The only way to move from old or lower states to new or higher states is that you have to get rid of, thank you, Gigi, you have to get rid of you have to clear out, be aware of, experience, and feel the lower states. Then how in God's green earth are we supposed to always be like this going up? How in God's green earth are we supposed to always be in bliss and love and high frequency and feeling good? That makes no sense. I don't understand that physics wise. It's impossible. Just based on how energy physics works. If you have to observe and see what you have been in order to move into what you haven't been in yet, the only way to do that is to experience what you've been in, which is bringing the unconscious to the conscious. And because we are so stubborn as humans, because we don't like to feel the uncomfortable, it takes us a long time. So we're doing this. And if you are constantly just trying to stay in that which feels comfortable, right? And only trying to maintain a state of being where you're in control, you're not allowing the natural process of this holy shit. What is this roller coaster ride that every single one of us is on? And the more you become aware and the more you observe, the more you think you're going crazy. Because the more you observe and the more you become aware, the more you realize that, A, I have no control. Something else bigger than me is controlling all of this. And I'm not going anywhere. There's no end to this. Today I feel great. Tomorrow I could feel like shit, and I don't care. If I am trying to grab hold of this attachment to the future, it's going to have to be, if I just went through hell for a week, then I sure as heck am going to start feeling better and better and better. But what if you don't? What if something else arises that you have to look at? What if more unconsciousness arises that you haven't seen? There's the unconscious is constantly arising. The unconscious is constantly coming up. And even if it's not unconscious, the conscious is arising for you to continue to see and to feel and observe. There's no end. There's no result. There's no, I got there. Never. And so the more that I can sit with this notion of like, and I do this quite brilliantly, in my opinion. I think I do this really well. I have no expectation or attachment of how I'm going to be or feel or experience my life in every moment. None. I could feel like shit in 5 hours. Okay, so what? Right? Like, I don't ever imagine that I am trying to heal something so that it goes away. I don't even hold that notion or attachment or belief. I don't. I see everything as fluid. That's it. And I see everything as just the experience that I'm having. So last week, holy Moses, I was in something, you could probably feel it in my energy, right? Like I was in something deep, deep. Thank you, Barbie. Yeah, that meditation is so good. The Mary Magdalene guided healing. She's so good. I didn't say to myself, I need to fix me. I need to change me. I need to figure this out. Something's wrong with me, right? I just let it be. Today, I'm feeling good, right? I'm feeling really good. But I'm not attached to that. And I'm not thinking, how am I going to make this stay? How am I going to stay in this? Right? Oh, I healed something. All that healing is, in my opinion, from my experience, is that you are bringing the unconscious that has been leading your life, all the thoughts and the beliefs and the behaviors that are based on trauma. So all the trauma that I have, and we've all had more trauma than we understand. Even if you had a great life with a great family, you got a shitload of trauma in your life. I mean, in your body, trust me, right? So trauma is normal, right? But it's what was created unconsciously from that trauma that we use to dictate and play out our life. That's the unconscious that has to be brought to the surface for us to see and feel, right? So I don't consider it healing. I just consider it energy shifting. i.e., unconscious energy coming to the surface so that I can feel that energy. It becomes conscious, and then I get to choose how I want to experience my life now, knowing that this energy that was once unconscious is now conscious. What a gift. Didn't feel good to bring the unconscious into the conscious. Thank you, Ashley. But I did by feeling it, by being aware of it, by not denying it, by not ignoring it, by not pretending, by not bypassing. And the more that I do that, instead of thinking to myself, I'm healing, I'm healing, I'm healing, all I'm saying, all I'm doing to myself is I'm shifting, I'm shifting, I'm shifting, I'm shifting, I'm shifting. There's just this constant, it's fluid, it's fluidity, it's fluid. There's no attachment, there's no expectation. None. Because if I have an attachment or a need to be healed, like I'm never going to do this addiction again, I'm never going to do this again, I'm never going to fall in that behavior again, I'm never going to blah blah blah. You are, when you say I'm never going to, you're attaching to something, an outcome. When you're in a flow state or in living as presently as possible, you don't ever say I'm never going to. It makes no sense. I would never say that to myself because I'm literally setting myself up. How do I know? The only thing I know is what's in front of me in the now. That's it. Serious. So if I say, "Oh my God, I'm never going to do that again," what if I do? What if I do it again? Then guess what happens? You beat yourself up, right? You beat yourself up for the fact that you're doing something that you said you'd never do again, right? So it's complete detachment. It's complete detachment from even saying to yourself, I'm never going to do this again, or I'm never going to be like this again. You know, part of what depression is all about, I think there's a lot of us that are feeling deep, deep depression right now, right? Um, is this expectation of how you want to feel. So a lot of times when you're in a depressive state, you're fighting against that which you're in. And you feel hopeless, and you feel helpless, and you feel alone, and you feel as if it's not okay. So many people that are suicidal, you'll never know it when you look at them out in the world. They seem normal. They seem happy. That's the unfortunate part of this programmed world, is that it's not okay to normalize being depressed. It's not okay to normalize being sad. It's not okay to normalize feeling suicidal. It's not okay to normalize these things. There's a label around it. You feel as if you have to present yourself a certain way. And you even have these statements of like, oh, pick your head up, just smile, just tell yourself you're having a good day. Do you know what that does to somebody who's legit depressed? Right? You're literally telling this person to deny their current reality. And the one thing they actually need to do is surrender to it. Because the moment you surrender to what it is that you're in, really knowing that it's not you, right? And understanding that it doesn't have control over you, even though with depression, holy cow, does it feel like it has control over you? There's this deep, deep acceptance that can happen when when you feel so out of control by the emotions that you're experiencing. It's almost like you have to start to befriend them. It's like something has to switch in you, and you have to turn and say, "What if I befriend this?" I remember it was 2014. And I'm sharing this because I'm just getting this feeling there's a lot of people right now that are hiding their depression, that are hiding how deep in sadness they are, or deep in this dark hole. So I remember in 2014, I was really depressed, very suicidal. I remember for about a year, from about 2013 to 2014, and actually longer than that. I'm not going to lie. I thought about killing myself a lot. And I remember talking to a girlfriend of mine one day, And I said to her, I said, "Do you ever think about, taking your life?" And she says, "No." And I was like, "You don't?" And she's like, "No." She's like, "Do you?" And I was like, "Yeah, like a lot." And I thought it was normal. Like I literally swear to God, I was like, "Oh yeah, don't you just think about like leaving and exiting and being done?" And she was like, "Absolutely not." So this was around the beginning of 2014 when I started realizing like, okay, maybe there's something underneath this that I'm not looking at, right? And I recognized that as I was becoming more and more aware of the depression, letting the depression sort of rise up. So I was no longer using external things I wasn't drinking anymore. I was in a relationship slash partnership thing that was very unhealthy. And this person wasn't in my life in the moment. So everything was sort of being taken from me, right? I didn't have anything that was pacifying the emotions that were underlying this depression, this need to exit the earth. And the thoughts weren't leaving, right? The thoughts weren't leaving my head. It was getting worse and it was getting worse and it was getting worse. And because I wasn't really aware and awake like I am right now, I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know what to do with these emotions that were starting to overtake me. It started to feel as if I didn't have control any longer. And the moment you feel like you don't have control over the emotions is the moment you try to grab the emotion. It's the moment you try to, um, it's like anxiety takes over and you're like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, right? And the more that anxiety takes over what you're doing, the more you go into it, the more it consumes you. The key is to recognize that you're just experiencing something and to let your hands go and to allow yourself to lovingly move through what you're experiencing. But if you're not aware of how it works, you can literally get sucked into the tunnel of that depression. You can get sucked into the tunnel of what you think is going to alleviate it, right? Which is never really what alleviates it, ever. What alleviates it is having the courage to be able to feel what is underneath what we would call depression, to truly feel safe enough to feel it, right? I was so afraid of feeling whatever it was that was underneath that, which was abandonment and loneliness uh, and unworthiness, all the things that I'm very capable of feeling now. They started arising back then in 2014, and I wasn't ready yet. It was too overwhelming. I was trying to hide it, right? So I remember, I just want to share this story and then we'll move on. But I remember there's this strange line that you get to with suicide where it's hard to explain, but if you cross this energetic line, you can feel yourself getting closer and closer to this energetic line. And if you cross that line, it's sort of you've made the decision, right? It's very hard to explain this, but I was on my way home from my job. I was working at a private equity firm. I had been sober. I was sober at that time. I had been sober for a couple of months. So I didn't have alcohol, which is one of the reasons why it was getting so bad. I had nothing. And I was on the ferry. I'll never forget this. I had a sponsor at that point. And I remember texting my sponsor, I'm feeling I'm not good. Something's not right here. I'm not good. And she says, call your mom and get somebody to stay with you tonight. So I got home and I was freaking out. I was literally scared because I knew that I was on the verge of no longer like having control. Um, at all of like what was going to happen. I was scared. I was very, very scared. So I remember calling my mom. I remember sitting on the couch and crying and calling my mom and saying, I'm about to kill myself if you don't get over. I knew how I was going to do it. I knew I had the whole plan. I had all of it. Like it was, it was, it was, it. I can't even explain to you how close it was. And I called my mom because I knew that was my lifeline. I knew I wasn't supposed to kill myself, but I was so damn close. And I said, "I need you to come over here right now. I have a plan. I know exactly what I'm gonna do. I need you to be here." And so, of course, she lives in my town, thank fucking God, and she ran over. And I don't remember much after that except that I told her the entire plan. I told her how I was gonna do it, and she stayed while I moved through this. And for whatever reason, after that moment, it started to dissolve. It started to move through me. Um, and I was going to therapy at that point. There was a lot that I was doing, but what was being asked of me that now looking back, okay, looking back at that time, 2014, if I was aware of the way energy works then as I am now, I would have been able to be more of an observer, right? And I would have been able to recognize that I was processing and my body was processing and moving through energies, emotions, i.e., trauma, that I didn't have the courage to trust that I could feel. I thought that if I was feeling these emotions that I would die. So instead of the emotions killing me, I was going to kill me, basically. It's just emotion. But that's how powerful and strong emotions are. That's how painful emotions can be. We have to give credit where credit's deserved. Emotions are intense. They're very, very difficult to experience at times. But the more that we can remember that we are simply experiencing an energy. And kudos for me, kudos to you for just simply trusting that you're safe to experience it. I wouldn't have found myself going down that road because I would have remembered what was actually happening. I would have been able to courageously dissect the thoughts. What am I protecting myself from? Right? What am I afraid to feel? Because what's going on right now for all of us, is anything that we don't feel safe to feel is going to come up to be felt. And maybe it's once every 6 months, maybe it's once a day, maybe it's once every week, which is why you never want to say to yourself, I'm healed, I'm complete, I've ascended, I've evolved, I'm in the 5D. Fuck all of that. You're just being a human experiencing an evolutionary shift in consciousness where you are legit going to be going up and down in different energies. And if you hold this notion that you're in 5D, that you're in this, that you're in that, what the hell is going to happen when an unconscious energy comes up that you weren't aware of and you think you're in this beautiful state? What are you going to do? Judge yourself? Beat yourself up? Ignore it, deny it, fix it, change it? What are you going to do? For everyone that's in the new earth, everyone that's in these, we're supposed to be in 5D. We're supposed to be this, we're supposed to be that. Really? What happens when you're not? And how do you even know if you are? How do you know? And what happens when you're not there? And what happens when the human experience disappoints you? Then what are you going to do? This isn't about getting anywhere. This isn't about trying to reach a state. This is about remembering who you have always been from the moment you were birthed into the physical body that you find yourself in, which is complete and whole and everything. Complete and whole. So no matter what experience you go through throughout your life, from the moment you open your eyes as a baby to right now, has simply just been an experience. None of it has been you. None of it has been you. So all you're doing right now is continuing to experience an evolutionary shift in consciousness, which has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with your human experience. But we associate the experiences as us. We associate the emotions as us, the trauma as us. It has never, ever, ever been you. So there is nowhere to go. There is nothing to heal. There is no such thing as I can't wait until I'm in 5D or the new earth or all this spiritual bullshit that we talk about. Excuse me, but it's true. You're beyond all of that. All of it. You don't need any of that. All you need is to be present with what is arising within you right now so that you can remember who you have always been, which is whole. Then you have no expectation of trying to get anywhere or be anything or do anything. Everything that we are remembering and learning right now is that we have never been any of it. And how do we deprogram, pull the shackles off, uncuff ourselves from all of the beliefs that we are any of this? The moment you start doing this, you guys, you legit will stop caring about any of it. You'll stop caring about trying to heal. You'll stop caring about trying to move yourself into this state or that state. None of it matters. Because you know that you're none of it. So if you know you're none of it, then all you're doing is simply moving through experience. You're just moving through experience. How you doing today? Today's a shitty day. Great. Next. Right? How you doing today? I'm good. Right now I feel great. Right now I feel this. Right now I feel that. Right now I'm doing this. Right now I'm irritable. Right now I don't want to hang out. Right now I want to go bury my head. Okay, great. Thanks. Next. What else? We put so much emphasis on uh doing this. I mean, you go on this is what I do every day. I assist people through this. And there are days where I literally am like, I don't want to assist people anymore. Like, I just want people to be. Right? I just want people to be. And sometimes I feel like the more videos that I do, sometimes I feel as if it only perpetuates this notion that you're any of it. You know, you go on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and YouTube, and it's everybody's trying to help everybody, and everyone's trying to make people, feel good and whatever that is, and that's great. And it helps, and it's so important because we're so deeply programmed. We're so deeply programmed. So what so many of us are trying to do for ourselves and humanity is remind ourselves that we're none of it, right? You're none of it. And to bring awareness and light to what you think you are. And to bring to light how attached we are to our beliefs and to our thoughts and to our behaviors. So it's beautiful what's happening. It's beautiful that we can turn on the social media and see all of these reminders. But man, there are days where I'm like, if we all just didn't have any of this, what would it be like, Sometimes I wonder, like, when I do my videos, am I perpetuating the suffering? I don't think so, but I do question it, I definitely think about it a lot. But that's how deeply programmed we are. The other day in my I did my channel, I did a channeled message in my online community, Evolve. And every month I do one. This month I never know who's going to come in until the morning of, so right before we go live. And I channel it, whoever comes in. A hawk just flew by. A hawk's flying by right now out the window. Just chilling right now, flying, just soaring direct, like in a circle right in front of me. Amazing. Oh my gosh, so cool. I channeled Admiral Byrd. Admiral Byrd. Now, I knew very little about Admiral Byrd, but I was like, all right, I'm in. I'll play this game. I'll channel Admiral Byrd. And one of the greatest, it was a powerful channeled message. But one of the greatest things, thank you, Chrissy. One of the greatest, Admiral, yeah, Admiral. One of the greatest messages that came through with him was the power of the programming that we are in. And the greatest gift that we can do for ourselves is seeing the programming that we're in. That's it. Seeing it. So I think I spoke about this last time, or I did it in my Evolve community, online community. But when we talk about programs, a program is basically a way in which we're taught to be. Like the easiest programs to think about are, the educational system is a great program. When you're this age, you go to school, and then you go to this, then you do this at this age, and then you do this at this age. We have programs where we're supposed to, pay taxes. We have programs where there's health insurance and car insurance. There's programs around marriage and being monogamous or polyamorous, or these are all programs. There are ways in which we are taught to be. And there's programs that we buy into, and there's programs that we don't buy into. Millions buy into that program, millions buy into this program. Every program holds truths. They hold like right and wrongs, right? This whole world is designed around programs. And what programming does is that it pulls you out of your sovereignty. So what it does is it tells you how to be. It tells you what to think. It tells you how to feel. It tells you what you're supposed to experience, what you're supposed to do. And it's very deeply, deeply ingrained in us. There's nothing wrong with the programs, but we have to start to recognize that we're programmed in almost everything we do. Because the moment you can recognize that is the moment that you become free. It's the moment you start deciding whether you want to do this or not. You start deciding whether you want to go to school. You start deciding whether you want to do this at that age and do this and do that. Regardless of the consequences that exist in your country or whatever. That's becoming sovereign. That's becoming free. So until we start doing that, we're not free. Now, we're always free because we are innately designed and born to be free. It's all an illusion that we're not free. Freedom doesn't come from things that are given to us. Freedom is an internal state of being, period. You could be in a jail cell and you're free. It has nothing to do with the external world, ever. But you have to realize that you have lived in the illusion that you're free when you haven't been living in a state of freedom. So the only way to become free is to realize that you haven't been living in a state of freedom. You've been living in programmed states. You don't even know what you like. You don't even know what you want. You don't even know why you do what you do. And then when you defend it or find excuses or reasons for it, that's an even deeper indication that you're in programming. And there's nothing wrong with recognizing the programming, right? Programming is part of this world. We're going to be in programs. It's a matter of whether you're choosing to or not. Am I choosing to be in this program? Am I choosing to buy into this? Am I choosing to continue to play in these governmental systems, right? It's the awareness and the choice. Thank you, Maricela. Right? So what Admiral Byrd was saying in this channeled message was, are you aware of the deep programming that you are all in? Because we will become, the more that we stay in these states of unawareness, sort of like the slower it's going to take for humanity to step out of the programs. So humanity as a whole is eventually going to pull themselves out of these deep, deep programs in order to stand sovereign and make choice. Right? So you have to start to make choice, your choice. You have to start to choose and decide how you want to be, how you want to live in the world, the rules that you follow or don't follow, and the consequences that come from that. That's true freedom. And the more that we break free from these programs, the more you'll find yourself free and not being impacted by the external world. So many of us are in victim, especially right now, we are playing the victim role. I get emails all the time of things that I did wrong, or I should be doing it this way, or you realize that people can't do this because you're not doing this. It's like everybody wants to blame somebody else for what they're experiencing. It's quite easy for me to see it, but it's difficult for a lot of humans to see that right now. Anytime that you throw something on someone else, it's an indication that you're not taking self-responsibility. No matter what, because you're free. You're innately born free. You have choice in everything. This is very, very difficult, and there are circumstances and children and adolescents and things like that. So please, it's not black or white. Don't have arguments around this in terms of like, well, actually, we're not free because of blah, blah, blah. And actually, if I'm in a narcissistic, abusive relationship that I can't get, like, I'm not going to, we don't, arguing these points is a waste of energy in my mind. At the end of the day, we're all free. At the end of the day, the whole point of all of this is to recognize that nothing has control over you, including your emotions, and that everything is movement and everything is a state of being. It's a state of being, right? So if you stop blaming the external world for the fact that you don't have these rights any longer, you don't have this or you don't have that, you'll become free. You'll learn how to find yourself moving through life without being impacted in the same way. And then you'll just observe yourself. The reason so many of us are feeling so irritable, is because we are recognizing the deep programming that we have been in, where we have followed the herd, silenced ourselves, done what we're told, done what everybody else has done, and haven't truly listened to ourselves. And so now we're finding ourselves starting to find our voice and find our light and find who we are and find what we like and what we don't like and holding up firmer boundaries and starting to say yes or starting to say no and all these things, right? And not only are we triggering people and irritating them, but we're finding ourselves irritated because we realize, holy shit, I've been silent my whole life. Holy shit, I've been a people pleaser my whole life, right? And the moment you realize that you can't blame the other person is the moment you become even more irritated because it's all about you. It's all about you. When we blame other people or throw it on somebody else, we don't have to hold it, right? We don't have to hold it. I swear to you, irritability is the biggest, I think it's one of the biggest experiences we're feeling right now, right? It's a big one. Because when you're irritated, there's something that person's doing that's bringing up something within you that you don't feel okay about within yourself. And it can be deeply unconscious. Deeply unconscious. Watching somebody make a crap ton of money, right? And you say to yourself, you shouldn't be charging money. You shouldn't be making all that money. How dare you? Who do you think you are? When you find yourself doing that, I'm not saying you guys are, it was just an example. When you find yourself doing that, it's like, what's inside of me that isn't okay of feeling worthy, of feeling abundant? Because if you're worthy and abundant, you would never say to somebody, how dare you charge for this? How dare you try to make money? How dare you this? How dare you that? Right? Pay attention. Anytime I'm irritated by somebody, and it's quite frequent right now, okay? When I get irritated by somebody, I immediately stop myself. And I say, what is it within me that wants to be seen around this? What is this about me? What am I not looking at? What do I do? What do I not feel worthy of? What is it? Because here's what's interesting. There could be 6 people in a room and one person says something, okay? About how successful they are and this and that. And 3 people get irritated and 3 people don't. The 3 people that don't get irritated are probably pretty comfortable and confident in who they are and how they're showing up in the world. They're not trying to compare themselves to other people. They probably feel very worthy. They probably have a lot of self-love, respect for themselves. The 3 people that get irritated by this person talking about how great they are probably are insecure. They probably judge themselves against people all the time. They probably don't feel worthy. They probably have a lot of lack in their lives. And this is how it shows up. We have to pay attention, right? That we're not throwing shit back on people right now. Don't email me about the ways in which you think I should have done something because you missed out or you didn't understand or you didn't hear or you did, right? It's like, this is how I run my business. If you don't like it, don't participate in it. But don't email me complaining to me about how you think I should do it differently so that you have a different experience. Take self-responsibility for the fact that maybe you're not on time all the time. Maybe this, maybe that. Like you can see it quite clearly right now with a lot of humans. They're going to want to throw things on you. They're going to want you to hold their pain. They're going to want you to hold their unconsciousness, the things they can't see. They're going to want you to change. They're going to want you to make things better. They're going to blame you. They're going to nitpick you. They're going to critique you. They're going to want to argue with you, right? Because there is triggers within themselves that they just can't see right now. They don't want to go there. They don't want to look. The key is to not look, is to not play in it. You know, don't play in it. Don't respond. Don't defend yourself. One of the things that I have been learning or practicing, I've got 10 more minutes. I wanted to answer some of your guys' questions, but one of the things that, oh yeah, toxic femininity. That's a big one. One of the things that I've been practicing the last 4 years was writing my book and getting myself ready for the book, is the ability to hold myself in humility, um, and really experience true humility, which means that it doesn't matter. This is what humility feels like to me. It doesn't matter what anyone says about me. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks about me. It doesn't matter how angry people may get, or frustrated, or triggered, or how people are going to want to argue certain points or not argue certain points, or debate. When I sit in and embody humility, humility is absolute confidence in who I am, and not needing to take a megaphone and shout it to the world. So with regards to the book, if people are like, you lost your mind, that's bullshit, that's insane, why would you think that? What about this? What do you think about this? What about blah, blah, blah? When I sit in humility, I just allow these people to have their opinions, and I don't argue back. I will not debate back. I will not defend myself. Humility doesn't defend. Humility just allows. Because in deep humility, the ego is resting. In deep humility, the ego is resting. And there is nothing to prove. There is simply a very soft, powerful confidence in who you are. When you see people really getting loud and trying to defend themselves against something, trying to prove their point, the ego is injured. The ego is hurt. The ego needs to defend, which is fine. But in deep humility, the ego rests, and because the ego knows it's okay. The ego knows it's safe. The ego knows that it doesn't need to defend against who it is. That anybody can come at me with any idea and belief and opinion. And through humility, can I just allow it? Do I have to defend? Because if I truly know who I am, and if I'm very confident in what I say and what I do and how I show up in the world, then the silence speaks louder than words. In true, deep humility, silence speaks louder than words. And I feel like I have trained about 4 years to be able to hopefully present myself in that way as the book goes out into the world. Yeah, the book's going to be available in August. There'll be a lot of information about it. Hi, Mike. It's so crazy. I saw your comment again. This is like the first time I looked over at the comment section and I see your comment. Hello, my friend. Do you guys have any questions? I have about 6 minutes. I'd love to answer a question or two. Any advice on your friend that can't get through her depression? I mean, I think if there was somebody in my life that was severely depressed, I think talking about it is extremely important, right? Just talking about it. it's the deadly killer, right? Suicide is that deadly killer because nobody talks about it and it's silent and it's behind the scenes. So I would talk about it. I would also um, uh, try to bring the lens of energy, that it's not permanent. Depression feels so permanent. So it's like, okay, this isn't permanent. This is a fluid movement. This is a movement. This is movement. This is energy. This is movement. Talking, 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 getting them to talk, getting them to express, getting them to scream, getting them to yell, getting them to tell you their thoughts and their visions and all of that. More than you would a normal Joe Schmo person in your life, right? That's key. Key. She doesn't want to be asked how she is. Ask her anyways. Who cares what she wants right now? Ask her anyways. When you are in that deep, deep depression, you want people to leave you alone. When you're in that deep, deep depression, you don't want people to ask you questions. I've been there. You get angry, you yell at them, you slam the door, you hide. You want to be left alone. It's the only thing you want. Just fucking leave me alone. That's what you want. Don't leave them alone. You keep asking. You keep reminding them that it's movement. You keep reminding them, right, to do things differently. Like, for instance, if somebody has been doing the same routine over and over and over again, they get up, they do this, take them outside, take them on a different walk. You almost have to bypass free will with really depressed people and force them into new situations, new experiences, new energies, you know. But you don't listen to them when they say don't ask. You keep asking, you keep talking, you keep bringing it up, no matter how angry they get. How do I let go of or forgive my dad's sexually abusing me? Well, I only have 3 minutes, and that's an extremely complex question. It takes time. You don't force forgiveness, and you can't force letting go. You have to give yourself the permission to find the moment of forgiveness when it arises. You don't search for forgiveness. Forgiveness just happens, from my experience. Forgiveness just arises when you've given yourself enough time and permission to feel it all, to feel the anger, to feel the rage, to feel the sadness, to feel the separation from them for a while, perhaps whatever you need to do. But you don't go and find forgiveness. You don't force forgiveness. You don't let go. Again, it's all energy. Everything is movement. Everything is fluid, including forgiveness. You're going down the river and you've been attached to this experience, this trauma that your father abused you. So it's been with you. You've been carrying it on the river. And the more that you're aware of it, the lighter it becomes. The more you're aware of this weight you've been carrying, the lighter it becomes on your back, or, something that you're carrying behind you. And eventually, at some point, you will find that weight that you've been carrying with your dad sexually abusing you is gone. And you don't know what exactly happened, but it's done. It's gone. You no longer feel the heaviness and the weight. And all of a sudden, there's a forgiveness. And you don't know why or how. That's my experience. And I had compassion for myself, right? You have compassion for yourself while you are forgiving whoever it is. Whoever you're forgiving in your past, you don't force it. You don't make it happen because you're supposed to. You have compassion for yourself for what you went through. You have compassion for yourself for what you're experiencing right now. You have compassion for the courage to always have awareness around it and to feel everything around it, knowing that it's not you. It's an experience you had, knowing that you've been carrying it your whole life. It's probably created most of how you've experienced the world. And as you begin to become more and more aware of it, feeling everything, you quote unquote heal, which again is literally just energy moving, right? It's just fluid. And then the next thing you know, you are able to forgive. And then there's a feeling of forgiveness. All right, you guys, thank you for another episode of Untangled. I appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. And if any messages here, if you think there's anybody that would need to hear some of the messages that we spoke about today, please pass this video on. For sure. If you want to hear the channeling of Admiral Byrd, the link to join my online community is down below. It's really, really powerful. If you missed the full moon meditation that we did on Sunday night, that link is down below as well. It was really, really powerful. It may have been one of my most powerful meditations that I've done. And you can do it whenever. It doesn't have to be on the full moon. So I'll leave that link down below as well. Be gentle with yourselves. Be gentle with other people out there, right? Be honest, be raw, be authentic, be vulnerable, be you. Don't be ashamed of who you are. Be all of you. And I will see you next Tuesday, 9 a.m., same time for Untangled episode 4. I love you.